what's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave, and today I'm joined by somebody I'm very excited to speak with. If you know anything about me, you know I love myself some Australian MMA, and today's guest is once again no exception to that pecking order. Somebody I've been keeping a tentative eye on and following a phenomenal performance at Eternal 81. I think is a lightweight fighter poised to make a massive impact on the regional scene, improving to 2-0 with a phenomenal first-round knockout finish. I'm joined by Deng. How are we doing today, brother?
Hey, good, thank you, brother. How you doing there?
I'm doing phenomenal, my man. Excited to be here sitting next to you and speaking with you today following what was a phenomenal finish, I might add. I don't think we see anybody at 155 right now putting guys down like you are. Talk to me, obviously, about how you're feeling and how everything's been.
I'm feeling, I'm feeling great, man. Training's been good. Just, being at NTG has been great. I just feel like I'm improving every day down there. So, it's just like the same old thing, but it's like, it's proving to work, especially with my performance at the last Eternal. Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. And more importantly, I was watching the fight, and I feel like for me, the thing that stood out, and I don't know if it's a thing just with the other Sudanese fighters, but I feel like, fellow South Sudanese fighter Moses, Deng, you and him have got an infectious style.
Yeah.
I've got to highlight just that movement, the sticking and moving. It's next world. It's otherworldly. I want to talk to you just about the performance, because I feel like that performance got a lot of eyeballs onto you. Not to say that you weren't already getting a lot of attention following your, debut victory, but I feel like this one really kind of solidified that position. Like, hey, I'm one to watch coming up in Australia right now. So just talk to me about, that performance, going in there and getting such a great victory over a game opponent.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I've always felt like, I was something to be watched, something that was touted. But like you said, that performance just solidified it. And leading up to that performance, I just went with the flow more so, not thinking like I had anything to prove or anything. It was just it's just another day in the office, sort of my mentality. And, went down to Southport Sharks, Gold Coast, weighed in, everything felt amazing. Showed up the next day, just performed, just, did what I've been practicing in the gym for the past year.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we've seen you level up heaps since working at NTG Fight and Fitness. Talk to me just about, getting in the work there and just how your game has improved in your eyes. I feel like with you, even, up against the cage in the clinch, you really looked like you were holding your own, being able to get back and separate and get back to your bread and butter, which is the striking. Talk to me just about working there and getting in the rounds, getting in that groove and rhythm to really showcase what I thought was, very much so utmost confidence in your skill set. Talk to me just about your time at NTG, Fight and Fitness.
Yeah, training at NTG is just the best. I think it's just the level of guys we have in so many disciplines in combat sports. We've got the boxers, we've got the guys that's doing high level jiu-jitsu now as well, and we've got guys doing the Muay Thai, the kickboxing, and it's like guys at the MMA. We've got the tougher brothers down there that helped me heaps, show me so much about the game, so much that I just overlook. And they're like, nah, you got to, focus on this, find out your game, develop this, So just being down there is just the best, especially with Nugget and everybody else.
No, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the Tafa brothers, obviously Justin and Junior Tafa, two unbelievable finishers. I feel like, training with them, it rubs off a little bit on you. And I don't know if that's just, the Tafa gang kicking in, but more importantly, you get a lot of quality rounds when you train with those guys. What's it been like to kind of pick apart, elements of their game from them and be able to really see, elements of their games that's helped them translate that to success in the UFC, the big show, and also just being able to improve in your own capacities as a fighter?
Yeah, 100%. It's just like great to see what it takes to be able to perform at that level firsthand. It's like there's so much that goes into being able to just even be at the doorstep of the highest level. And these guys are doing it at the best and performing at the best, knocking guys out at the world level. And it's just like, man, I just want to be like these guys. I just want to be that guy that's knocking people out and whatnot. And it's super funny because a couple of days before my fight, Justin was like, bro, have you ever got like a finish? And I was like scratching my head. I was like, nah, I've never got a finish. Like, bro, you need a finish, man. And I was lucky to get one. A few days later, it was just pretty gangster.
No, yeah, absolutely. That was a performance that, in my opinion, like you said, Tafa asked and you delivered. So more importantly, getting on Tafa's good side is a very nice attribute to have. More importantly, but
For sure.
I think right now, in terms of, just Sudanese and South Sudanese mixed martial arts, it's been remarkable to see, what Australia has kind of had with yourself, Moses, set to make his pro debut very soon, and then also Abdullah. I feel like there's that camaraderie and friendship, there just from where you guys come from, knowing that you guys come from similar backgrounds, and of course, just representing, not while they're on the Western Australia, you're in Queensland. Still both of you guys, or the three of you guys, are putting on for your country. So talk to me just about being able to represent South Sudan, and more importantly, being an inspiration for a country that is only just starting to find its footing in MMA a little bit. Because look back 10 years, I don't think half the countries in the world would have talents from it. But now look forward, it feels like every country's got maybe at least one or two guys to really keep an eye on, to make a push and represent and show it can be done. So talk to me about just what it's meant like for you to represent.
Yeah, no, I take heaps of inspiration from those guys out west. Abdallah, like ranked pound for pound, number one in the nation right now, I think, by topology, which is super cool. And Moses Deng is just killing it in the flyweight division, the amateur scene. And just even reaching out to those guys and having communication with them is pretty gangster, knowing we come from the same background. Me and Moses Deng share the same surname, so there's a lot of people being like, "Oh, you guys related?" It's like, nah, that's just a common surname. That's a fellow countryman, which is gangster to be able to be on the same scene as him. Just share conversation with him, like, "Hey, how did you do this? What's happening with this?" And it's like, yeah, we can just share that information and reflect off each other. And like you said, South Sudan is a super young nation. Not even in terms of the MMA scene. It only became an official nation in 2011. So to be able to be the diaspora and doing this sort of thing, inspiring the kids, because we've got a lot of kids here that are not doing the best thing, especially South Sudanese kids. To be able to be a voice for them and like an inspiration is super gangster, because I just do this because I enjoy it, but those are like the extras. It's super awesome.
No, yeah, absolutely. I love what you mentioned, kind of like the intangibles that come with being a representative. It's remarkable to see,
Mm.
because, like you mentioned, just having fellow countrymen to not like spit tips and tricks off of, but just to see what they're doing in their own element across the nation. On that note, it's remarkable to see
Mm.
how tight knit, like, just being from somewhere can make people. Because of that identity that you both share, you're able to kind of not only just fight and represent, but also fight for the same events, put on. Both you and Moses and
Mm.
are fighting for Eternal, and Abdullah is fighting for Hex right now. Interesting dynamic
Mm.
there between Eternal and Hex. We won't get into that too much, but it's just great to see, you guys just kind of sharing tips and tricks, because I feel like that's something that, when you're from a certain country, it's very important, like, not to kind of gatekeep information, but to share with each other, just so you can elevate each other and kind of push for that next generation to do the same things.
Yeah, 100%. Like, coming from the same country, sharing the same similar values, same values. It's like, how did you talk about your family to this? How did this? And it's just awesome. No, there's someone that looks like you, feels like you can, just share that information and reflect off each other. It's so cool.
And it's remarkable, not just in the capacity of, like, knowing that you guys are from the same country, but the fact that you all are very young in the fight game too. You're only 23. Moses is only
Mm.
22. Abdullah, if I remember
Mm.
correctly, is only 28 or 29. Still, all of you guys are very young in the fight game, and also just
Mm.
improving heaps right now. And I think it's a testament to just the work ethic that you all share, and also just, the skill sets that you guys present. I feel like all of you guys are accredited strikers that can keep it standing and can excel. Moses has that one finish where he did, like, almost like an Ali shuffle of sorts, and then goes on and
Yeah.
and puts the guy down. And then yourself, just an incredible godsend of a right hand, putting people down and
Mm.
getting that first finish as a pro.
Yeah.
Talk to me just about, more importantly, making a push. I feel like your skill set is one that's gone underlooked at 155, and right now with 155 becoming one of those resurging divisions in Australia, I feel like there's a lot of room for people to come in, and new players. When you got guys like Dominic Marfan and Quillen Salkild fighting each other for the gold, you've got Harry Webb over at
Mm.
Hex. You've got a lot of young guys in the mix coming up right now. So talk to me about the division and your thoughts on it, where you kind of see yourself in it.
Uh, like, in terms of being a fan, like, I just love what's going on, in the Australian MMA scene, and I feel like the lightweight division is the best division. you've had guys like David Martinez. You have even Dim Skillies that was at my gym. Those guys were running the lightweight division for a long time. And it's time for the new breed of guys. These young, early 20-year-olds and 25-year-olds. They're making their push to make their name known in the lightweight division. And I just can't wait to be a part of that. As a fighter, it's like I know I have to take my time and be very strategic with it. But it's like I just want to jump in the deep end and figure out where I'm at in here. It's like, because I feel like I could definitely make my name known and be up there with those guys that are like fighting for the lightweight eternal championship and whatnot.
No, yeah, definitely. And I love what you mentioned there, because it's like you mentioned, it's time for the new blood to really make a move in the 155 division of Australian MMA. And more importantly, what I love about Australian MMA is you guys don't shy away from matchmaking. I know there's a little bit of, not controversy. Like, when you look at 145, there's a whole different element there. Some divisions are a little bit more slow than others, but it feels like 155, there's really kind of like a groove going on there. Everyone's kind of fighting everyone that they can. There's no shortage of guys shying away from a challenge. David Martinez and Josh Togo, they just went over to Brave Combat Federation and fought over in Indonesia. That was a very interesting, experience to see two Aussies representing on an international card. But I feel like there's no shortage of matchups to be made. And when you look at a guy like Tom Nolan, who was undefeated 5-0, and he went over to the Contender Series off of a 5-0 run, it's very exciting to see how that could be a kind of common theme, because I feel like everyone at 55 is very much ready to go. So talk to me just about, seeing that, the UFC and major organizations are coming over. They're recognizing the talent pool in Australia. And I think a lot of the talent is getting considerably more opportunities just off of these proven track records, even if it's 5 or 6 fights. Talk to me just about the recognition that it's getting because of the talent pool.
I just feel like, I feel like it's because guys are super talented and they're versing killers, and like in terms of the lightweight division, like you said, the future I see is like I don't see it being one guy that's just fighting in the highest level, fighting the UFCs and the one championships and all these high level promotions. I feel like it's going to be multiple guys, especially in the 155 division, because so many guys fight there, so many guys are making their way down to that weight. So I feel like there'd be no reason to duck someone, to try to avoid somebody, because it's like if you fight someone and they're at the highest level and that guy ends up performing at a thingy in the UFC or whatnot, it's like that those losses age well, because it was like you were versing a guy that was at that level, so maybe you just got to give it a bit more time and you're there as well. So it's never like, oh, I got to duck this guy to try to make my record look amazing so I can make it there.
No, yeah, absolutely. I love what you mentioned there. It's like everyone's fighting everyone. And, even if with a win or a loss, I always say this, like, I'd rather take a guy from Australia who's 8-3, 8-4, but has fought the best of the best over a 10-0 guy from the States, because in Australia, they don't teach you to be weak. They teach you, you got to fight the best of the best to make it anywhere, because only one of us or two of us are going to make it to that UFC slot in the next year or two. So we got to fight the best of the best and prove that we belong. And I love that. And more importantly, Ran, I want to thank you so much for your time. And on another note, just the final question from me, I got to ask, because I always love knowing nickname origins. I gotta get the context behind where did the Midnight Samurai come from, because that's a very intriguing nickname to say the least.
So this name originated from my coach Nugget. I came in the gym for the first time, I think like late 2020. I walked in and he sort of looked at me for a bit, saw me working around the gym, and he was like, Midnight. I want to call you Midnight. And I was like, I'm not sure about that. And then but then it just stuck, and I was like, yeah, no, that's a gangster name, Midnight. And then I was thinking about, being a fighter. I was like, oh, Midnight is cool, but I feel like it needs like a string, something to put onto it. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, Midnight, the Midnight Night, nah. And I was like, the Midnight Samurai. I just came across it, from watching like Afro Samurai and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, put that together, and came up with the Midnight Samurai.
The Midnight Samurai, and more importantly, the Midnight Samurai. I gotta ask you, Ran, because once again, thank you so much for just the opportunity to speak with you, pick your brain. I love what you're doing, just not just for South Sudanese MMA, but more importantly, just as a young fighter, at only 23 years of age, you've looked phenomenal thus far in the matchups that we have seen from you. closing out 2023, I presume, with a bang. I don't imagine you'll be getting in the next month or so, the last month. But I got to ask you just goals for 2024 because, like I mentioned a little bit ago, we're seeing a lot of guys in that 155-pound division. They come in, they get a couple of very good wins, and they're on the doorstep of the UFC or any big promotion. I got to ask you, just in terms of activity, what can we expect to see from Deng in 2024? And any personal goals, just that, individual or sport-related, just anything that you're looking to kind of accomplish as the new year comes in.
So my goals for 2024 would just be the same that they always are, just be as busy as possible, be active as possible. Any name that's thrown at me, just put it on, put the show on, and regardless of what the show is, I fought on Eternal twice now, which is in my opinion one of the best shows in Australia. Even though there are many great shows, I love to be able to go out to another state and perform on another show. That's one of my personal goals as well. Get out Queensland, maybe fight in Victoria, New South, or maybe Perth, and yeah, just get my hands as dirty as I can in the amateur scene, and then see what the next level is. That's the goal.
Absolutely, and I know you mentioned maybe possibly deviating away from Eternal, but I gotta say I would love to see you and Moses fight on the same card. Just on an unrelated note, I feel like that would be an amazing treat for the South Sudanese fans. Just a remarkable 100%. Thing to see, to say the least. Maybe Eternal 82, who knows? But Rand, thank you so much for your time. An absolute honor and privilege to have you on, my man. I look forward to watching your next fight, Eternal Hex, wherever the heck it may be. I just know I'm tuning in because I know you bring entertaining fights wherever you are. So thank you so much for your time. To the fans at home watching, do be sure to check out Deng on social media. One of the best up-and-coming 55ers in Australia. Not a guy you want to look on lightly. Definitely somebody who's going to bring it every single time in that octagon. Check him out in the description down below. It helps me out a lot and helps me just be able to push the good message of supporting the fighters and doing whatever I can to make this sport better. So check him out. Show some support. Thank you to our sponsors that make this possible. It's been me, Dan, from FightWave. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Have a great day, guys.